Geometry Lesson 3.3, we'll be constructing parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Before we begin, close your book, go get 3 or 4 pieces of paper, and grab your compass and a straight edge and something to draw with. Parallel lines can be constructed using congruent alternate interior or alternate exterior angles. Perpendicular lines can be constructed using similar methods to bisecting a line segment. As a note, 30-degree angles can be constructed by bisecting an angle from an equilateral triangle. You're going to watch the following constructions. Do not use the information in your text when completing these constructions. Use the information from the animations that you watch. I have sent an email with links to these animations if you want to watch them directly. So our first construction, construction number 6, is a parallel line through a point. This is a picture of what your construction should look like when it is completed. This construction uses the angle copy method. There are different ways to do this construction, but this is one of the easiest. When you're doing these animations, all you have to do is click Next to see each step. So your goal is to construct a line parallel to PQ that passes through given point R. So the first thing you need to do is draw a line PQ. Then draw a circle, draw a point R on your construction. I would make the construction as large as possible that you can fit on about 1/3 of your paper. The larger your constructions, the easier they are to do. So once you've drawn your PQ segment and your point R, click Next. And now we're going to draw a line through R that will intersect PQ at a slight angle and label it point J. Set your compass width about half of JR. Draw an arc across both lines. So let me show that again. Draw a line through R, intersecting PQ, label it J, and then put your point on J, have it set more than halfway between J and R, and strike an arc that intersects both JR and PQ. Using this same compass width, repeat at point R. So move your compass to point R and strike another arc. Make sure that it intersects JR and goes approximately as far as your first arc did. Now you're going to set the compass width to the lower arc. So you've measured the lower arc from JR to PQ, and you're going to mark off an arc to make point S on the upper arc. Let me go back again and show you that. We've measured the lower arc from JR and PQ You move your compass up to the intersection of the upper arc and strike an arc and label it point S. Now draw a straight line through R and S. You should have two parallel lines, line PQ and line RS. One of the ways that you could tell this is parallel is by measuring towards the end of RS down to PQ and then measuring at the other end of RS down to PQ and see if they're the same measures. Our next construction, construction 7, is a perpendicular line through a point. This is what your drawing should look like when it's finished. And let's check out the animation. So, perpendicular to a line from an external point. Construct a line perpendicular to the given line that passes through point R. So you can see point R and we have a line. So draw that line first and place point R above that line. Now, place the compass point on R. Adjust the compass width to beyond the line. So when you open your compass from R, open it beyond the line. Now we'll be drawing two arcs across the line, creating points P and Q. So that will be P, and there you have Q. From each point Q, draw an arc below the line so they cross. You can keep the measure if you want to. As long as it'll fit on your paper, that's fine. Next, draw a line from point R to where the arcs intersect. You've now created a perpendicular line, a 90-degree angle, and the new line is line R, and on your drawing, go ahead and label this point T, as in Tom. So RT is perpendicular to PQ. Construction 8 is to construct a 45-degree angle. I like this construction much more than I like the one in the book. I find this to be easier to do, and this is what your construction should look like when we're finished. And let's view the animation. So, constructing a 45-degree angle, and let's reset the drawing and begin. So, construct an angle that has the measure of 45 degrees. Step 1, draw the line PQ to be one leg of the angle. Set the compass on point P. Let me go back there, we lost a piece. Set the compass on point P and the width to just over half of PQ. So you've drawn your line, put your compass on P, and measure over halfway. From P and Q, draw intersecting arcs with the width that you just created, above and below PQ. And this will look familiar. This is the way that we bisect a segment. Draw a straight line between the two arc intersections. From the midpoint of PQ, set the compass width to P. So the midpoint of PQ will be right here. Open your compass all the way to point P. Draw an arc across the perpendicular creating point C. So now with this width, swing up and draw an arc over the perpendicular line and name it point C. Now draw a line PR through the point C. The angle RPQ will measure 45 degrees. Go ahead and check that with your compass. Our last construction is construction 9, an equilateral triangle. This is what your construction will look like when you're finished. So to construct an equilateral triangle, we'll make a side length and call it AB. Mark a point P that will become one vertex of the triangle. So down here, I would say even with point B, make point P. Now, set your compass width to the length AB. From point P, draw an arc near both the other vertices or corners. So you're going to move your compass keeping this width. Mark a vertice near where you believe the corners of your triangle will be. Remember, an equilateral triangle has all sides the same length. Without changing your width, move to point Q and draw an arc across the other, creating point R. Draw 3 lines linking P, Q, and R. I have a recommendation with this construction is that when you draw line AB, that you also draw a straight line before that goes all the way across where your construction will be. That way point B, point P, and point Q will all stay on the same line. So that's it for our constructions. Lesson 3.3 homework is numbers 1 and 2, numbers 6 through 11, numbers 13 and 14, numbers 16 through 20, and number 31. Number 31 is a proof. So here is the word bank for the proof. Remember, write out your 2-column proof. Don't just fill in numbers on a piece of paper. Actually write the proof out, fill in the answers that are given here, but also the ones that you see in your book. That'll help you to retain the steps from the proof. So if you have any questions, be sure to contact me, and we'll see you in class.